These are buy or sell.
Kyle Bonagora with a piece on ESPN.com today with details of the Alabama football quarterback situation last season. You remember it as Jalen Hurts' team. That's not what other QBs, Blake Barnett and Cooper Bateman, say. Nick Saban told them before the opening game versus USC, and something they think Saban was not completely transparent about. He told them they'd be playing, but maybe he always planned on going with Hurts all along. Barnett and Bateman have transferred. How Saban reacts to that has tempered over time. At the moment, he publicly questioned their commitment. You might recall that. More recently, acknowledging players want to improve their opportunities. Jay, who are you selling? Who are you buying here?
I'm selling Saban on this. Before he questioned their commitment, which was a light way of putting it, he basically called them quitters. So I'm selling a coach calling out players who transferred. You know, there should be a no-comment rule after a player transfers in college. Some restrictions on the players. Let's put some restrictions on the coaches.
Okay.
Well, then let's put the restrictions on the players, too. They sound a lot whiny to me, J.A. I mean, they're in two different places, Arizona State and Utah. They can't even start there. So why are they going back talking about what happened to them at Alabama? They got beat out. They're getting beat out again so far in their new places.
Tim Kalisha?
I agree with Adonde that Saban, I don't want to buy him speaking about the players. However, the idea that he had a plan and he didn't stick to it. Hey, you start the season and you don't know. There's no preseason in college. You're playing USC. You're behind. Jalen Hurts comes in and he takes over the team. He won that job on the field, and they didn't lose a game until the national title.
So you're buying how he handled it actually on the field. You're selling how he talked about it after the fact. Bob Ryan, how about you?
I'm not exactly buying Nick Saban, but I'm definitely selling the players here. They had to know what they were getting in for going to Alabama. Nick Saban is not warm and cuddly. Nick Saban is out there to win football games. Nick Saban is going to do what he thinks, and that's that. And they're acting like very unsophisticated babies.
So you're
here.
saying if they were promised playing time, or at least led to believe they were playing time, and he went back on that in their
part
opinion,
of the deal, and
that's part of the deal.
That big-time world is you can get over-recruited. They were over-recruited by a better player, Hurts.
Sticking with college quarterbacks, there was a tremendous Q&A on Bleacher Report with UCLA quarterback Josh Rosen. It's a great read. It's a wide-ranging topics. You may have seen some of the headlines from it. This was on student-athletes. Look, football and school don't go together. They just don't. Trying to do both is like trying to do two full-time jobs. There are guys who have no business being in school, but they're here because this is the path to the NFL. There's no other way. Then there's the other side that say raise the SAT eligibility requirements. Okay, raise the SAT requirement in Alabama and see what kind of team they have. It's not that some players shouldn't be in school. It's just that universities should help them more instead of just finding ways to keep them eligible. Woody, what do you think of all the A he gave in the Q&A?
I'm going to buy the frankness of the interview. I thought that he talked about a number of wide-ranging subjects, but I'm going to sell why in the world did he want to pick on Alabama and Clemson and sociology students and a number of different other areas that I think he shouldn't have gone there, but he was just being, in my mind, honest about everything he thought about football.
Yeah, I'm definitely buying Josh Rosen in his answers. Unfortunately, it's just that line about Alabama, which was just part of a larger discussion he was making about players who go to school to play football, and some want to actually go to school, and it's very hard to do both. That Alabama line is getting all the attention. But
do you think that headline coming out of it, the Alabama SAT headline, do you think that's fair to what he said in full?
Well, he said it, but I don't think that was the gist of what he was saying.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Bob Ryan, as a journalist, would you be going with that headline, and what did you think of his whole Q&A?
Well, stop me when there's new news here. All five of us know very well that everything he said was essentially true, and that's that. So you just when somebody says it out loud that college sports and academics don't mix, it jolts people. The NCAA doesn't want to hear that. The colleges don't want to hear that. So of course it's jolting, but we all know the essential truth.
Jay, can I ask you specifically, as a professor of journalism at Northwestern, you saw the Q&A, you read it all. You also saw where most outlets took the headline, which was the SAT part for Alabama.
Yeah, and it's basically clickbait, right? I mean, that's what we have today in 2017, and it is unfair to him and to the author of the article because, yes, there were much more important points that he was making in there about the fraudulent nature, the supposed education of these student-athletes in college football, but I also applaud him for his bravery because you saw, even in the setup to the Q&A, that you have NFL scouts questioning his dedication to football because he actually cares about his mind.
Buy or sell three Brandon Albert in the NFL. He retired from the league last week. He already reportedly wants to unretire. Jaguars reportedly don't want to bring him back. They put him on the reserve retired list. Tim, what to buy or sell here?
I got to sell Brandon Albert really thinking this thing through because he didn't, because they drafted his replacement, second-round pick Cam Robinson of Alabama, who's been fine in camp, so they have really no desire to bring him back. Now, I think he still has – he was a Pro Bowl player 2 years ago, so I think he could still – Jacksonville could negotiate a trade, and somebody would want him.
Bob Ryan?
Well, I have to sell this. Doesn't he have an agent that would outline for him all the consequences of his decision, that we might have to give back the $3.4 million? I mean, I'm sorry. I have no sympathy for him.
Adana?
Sure, NFL teams like the Jaguars are going to sell Albert because if they're going to question a guy like Josh Rosen because he has outside interest and cares about his mind, you have to question a guy who appears to be back solely for the money.
What do you
Where's the
think?
dedication to football?
I'm buying Albert. I mean, none of you guys have ever changed your mind after a few days about a car or maybe a wife or something like that. I think that you got to realize
Sounds like
that,
someone's speaking from
I mean,
experience,
how
yeah.
good has Jacksonville been over the years? Why'd they trade for it? They drafted Cam Robinson.
Well, that's it.
They
They
could get
traded
something
for him just a few months ago. And then he retired. Now he wants to unretire. What do you've experienced some of the things you talked about. You've also changed your answer in the middle of answers before this program, I think. And
I didn't show up here to be replaced.
no one's replacing what he made. You're just saying a Don and Calabro and Showdown. Next.
Is prepared to
Adonde Kalishaw Showdown. Mike Trout hit number 1,000 last night. He also had a homer on his birthday. In the shower, he had the deconstructed birthday cake thrown on him. Eggs, baby powder, coffee creamer, slushies. What do you think he's going to remember most, Jay?
He's going to remember this, unfortunately, and why is he or why are we subjected to? This is the best player in baseball, and you're treating him like a rookie. I wonder how they treat the scrubs on the team on their birthday. Don't pour cake and stuff and powder on him.
I hope he's able
Mike
to
Trout.
forget that, and I bet he will remember that on his birthday, Bryce Harper hit his 150th home run, which puts them at the same pace to the day to the 150 home run mark. Exact same day in their lives.
I didn't know that. Tim Kalishaw getting the point on the exact day of his life. We'll move on. August 8th. 8/8. It was dubbed Jeff Fisher Day last year by funny people on the internet. He's out of football now, and it's still going out there that this is Jeff Fisher Day. Fair or foul, Tim?
I think it's unfair to Jason Garrett, whose first 3 full seasons were 8-8, 8-8, 8-8. He tied the NFL record. I don't think even Jeff Fisher did that. 7-9 might work better for Jeff Fisher, I'm afraid.
Well, it's important to have these 8s in there. It's relevant. He's also 8 games over 500 for his career in 22 years. That's not saying a whole lot. But also 5, 8, and 8 seasons. What did Bill Parcells say? You are what your record says you are.
Time to get some new material, Internet. Well, we're going to give the win to Tim Kalishaw. 30 seconds of face time.
The PGA made a great decision today announcing that this week's tournament will be the last one played in August. They are going to move the tournament to May. The PGA Championship has always gotten lost in August, being the 4th, and coming sometimes in Olympic years, having to mess the schedule up that year. But it's also a wonderful response to global warming. Half the country is too hot to host a golf tournament in August. That includes the great state of Texas. You can put a tournament here in May. You can put a tournament in Florida in May. You can play in Phoenix in May, one of their courses. It opens up the field to better courses for the PGA.
That was a face time I wasn't expecting. Because Tim Kalishaw gave it. I just wasn't expecting it to win. That's going to do it, folks. 23.5 hour break. We'll see you tomorrow.